Hi traders, welcome to this weekly Forex recap video. My name is Chris and this video is brought to you by AUDUSD Markets. I'm going to take a look at these four currency pairs, but before I do that though, be aware that this video is intended for a global audience. It may not be suitable for everyone. Please take a look at AUDUSMarketsGlobal.com, select your country of residence and contact the appropriate entity to find out more about that. Also, trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk and may not be suitable for everyone. Therefore, please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. By continuing watching this video, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved when trading. My first chart here is the Pound USD 1 hour chart, and I see a triangle formation probably as a wave 4. For those that like elliott waves, it does seem to be consistent to that. I would be looking for a break of this resistance trend line here as an indication of a bullish breakout. If price does break this particular bullish support trend line, then there could be a bearish breakout to the downside. However, one thing I want to be aware of is this fib. In fact, price preferably goes below the 50 fib before that wave 4 consolidation is out of the window or is out of the focus. If price does move up, right, then I'm also looking at fibs, but on the 4 hour chart, in that case, I'm going to draw it from top to bottom here, and I would expect price to stop at the 78.6 fib, in fact, with a max the 88.6 fib. If it breaks above the 100 level, then in fact the bearish fib here is invalidated, and there could be maybe a bullish breakout to the upside, but that's not something I would expect necessarily. So that's basically my view on the Pound USD. These trend lines indicating the breakout to the upside, obviously the resistance line would be the moment for bullish breakout to the 78.6 fib, where I have the green arrow, perhaps an extension up to the 886 fib, which I consider turnaround levels for a bounce down. If price does break below the support trend line, then there could be a small downside. However, I would still be careful of the 50 fib and the 38.2 fib and really only consider shorts to be interesting if price manages to get below the 50 fib, because I still think that these two fibs here could be bouncing spots as well. All right, so especially the 38.2 fib. So that's the playing field, I would say, on the Pound USD for the moment. In the long-term perspective, it's going to be interesting. Got a lot of fibs here in a moment. It's going to be interesting to see if price can make that downside continuation. We had two strong hook backs here. This was a good fall. This was a good fall, but we also had strong pullbacks, in fact. So, we got good reason to see perhaps a follow through to the downside here as we get close resistance. For instance, using this trend line is showing resistance even on a 4 hour chart. If we scrunch the charts maybe a bit like this, you can draw something like that on the chart. Like that. Okay, that actually is the reason for the price is stopping right now. Still, if it breaks that trend line, I consider these resistance spots to be valid. So in any case, you can see that this is an important zone of resistance in the long term, and if price does make that turn, perhaps there could be an acceleration to retest this bottom perhaps and go to these targets here at around 150 and 147.50. Before I dive into euro dollar, AUDUSD, and dollar yen, this is the lineup of this week for the webinars. We got the weekly FX recap with Nena tonight on Mondays, as always. Wednesday, he's going to take a look at Asian session and the pairs you should be trading on that session. Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to take a look at live trading, Camarilla indicator, pivot point indicator. And Wednesday, I'm going to focus on strategy. And Thursday, Tarantula and I together are going to take a look at market cycles on Thursday, the 22nd of October. All right, moving back to our currency pairs, looking at the euro dollar weekly chart, and basically in a big consolidation zone as we speak. We have a bit of a resistance level, I would say, right about here, in fact, around that 115 level, ultimately spiked up to this level once, which was the 38.2 fib, by the way, if we put it like this. No, I should actually put it from here to here, and you can see 38.2 fib very neatly turning around there. That could end the wave 4 consolidation, in fact, but doesn't have to be. Wave 4s are big consolidation zones. So it could be actually still the remainder of the year, price could oscillate perhaps between 108 and 117, just go sideways. So from that point of view, this month I think is going to be a very important month to see if that downtrend can continue. In that case, if the downtrend does continue, I would like to see price break below this support trend line. So we got about 2 weeks left, and if price does manage to break the support trend line in the next 2 weeks, I would consider that a bearish breakout, and price could start falling roughly to that parity level. If it doesn't, then I'm expecting a consolidation zone for perhaps the next 6 months. So it's going to be interesting next 2 weeks. In a long-term perspective, in the short-term perspective, what I see at the moment is actually another hook back and another bounce off that 115 level like we had here and perhaps in the more past. So from that point of view, I think that if I look at the hourly chart, this is a bearish start of a fall move up. I consider to a move up to resistance. I would put a fib from here to here, like this. And from my perspective, 61.8 fib could be a bearish turnaround spot. In fact, any of these fibs could, but probably the 61.8 seems the most likely. It's the golden ratio, isn't it? And I would expect a fall down to the minus 272 target, maybe even the minus 61.8 target on average on this hourly chart. Something like this as I draw this on the chart, like this. Find weakness down to this, and we could perhaps see a bit of a bounce there. That's what I would be expecting, keeping an eye on that throughout the week for the euro dollar. Now, obviously, if it breaks the 100 level, then something else is going on. My analysis is invalidated, and there could be the potential for price to make a breakout above 115. Well, basically to retest this top at 117. If it breaks above this 100 level, there could be indeed the breakout potential here. Some space, some smaller spaces to retest that top. If it doesn't, I think it's a hook back for one more fall down into this zone here, really, where there was a lot of choppiness. That, of course, could easily stop price as well. Down to, for instance, this support trend line. There's still a lot of support levels, in fact, available anywhere around 110, 111, 112.50. So that is my view on the euro dollar. Let's take a look at the AUDUSD. AUDUSD, copying exactly what I was saying last week, that it could hit the minus 272 target. It should turn around there, and it did. Then it moved down, and where did it bounce? To the support area that I was talking about as well. So those two things did occur as talked about in my last week's video. Now price is in a range, in a triangle, got the purple trend lines indicating the top and the bottom of that triangle. So from my perspective, a break of the resistance trend line could indicate the potential for price to move up to the next target, which is the minus 61.8 target, in fact. And there could be that breakout potential from the trend line up to the 61.8 at 75, which is a psychological round level as well. Then if it breaks instead to the downside, I would expect price to have some struggle here around, probably around this support level around here, like this, around 71, 70-ish. That still could be a support level, in fact, for a bounce up. So there could be a bearish breakout down to roughly that level as the breakout occurs. So either one could be interesting here. In fact, I mean, the upside impulse was strong. So from that point of view, maybe the bullish breakout, could be better. But also, of course, if we look at the daily, you can see the downside momentum to be pretty strong too. So from that point of view, the bearish break could also be interesting. Next, dollar yen, basically showing a pretty strong momentum here. So from that point of view, I would be expecting a bigger upside zigzag. I'm not that interested in trading it necessarily from here. It's possible that there could be that trade to the upside, but I also am aware of the fact that price did make a break here on the 4-hour chart at least. So from that point of view, it could be the follow through to the downside. Therefore, from my perspective, I would rather trade, well, I'm not trading on this particular pair. I would be pretty cautious of it. If it does break this bottom, I might look for intra-week continuation shorts. I don't have a particular strategy right now. I would wait for that to break and zoom into lower time frames and perhaps look for continuation trades. The other perspective or alternative I would say is if price does make that zigzag that I just talked about, but not trade it to the upside, but wait for price actually to get to the minus 272 target about 120, which I think could be still a resistance spot for more downside from basically this resistance zone here. And that could be a good turnaround spot for that downtrend continuation. I mean, it is a very big consolidation zone, and when price is trying to break out of that consolidation zone, it's often messy, it's often choppy, it's often a struggle. So from that point of view, I'm not really interested in trading it. Keep an eye on it throughout the week. Perhaps there could be a trade, but it's not something that's high on my list. Actually, at this moment, I think, from my perspective, Pound USD, Euro USD, and AUDUSD look more interesting to trade than the dollar yen. Thanks for joining this webinar or this video, and hope to see you in the webinars this week. Make sure to take a look at AdamandWork social media. A lot of content, great content is being delivered on a daily basis, and wish you all good trading. Cheers.